Hi everyone, welcome back. Today, I think we're gonna dive into the bowels of this thing. If you are new to the channel or a returning viewer or subscriber, thank you so much for watching and following along. I greatly appreciate it. If you haven't subscribed, please consider doing so. A little click of the mouse means a lot to me because if we build that subscriber base high enough, maybe Google will send me a few pennies. If you know somebody who's interested in race cars, which I do quite a lot of stuff about it, fabrication, welding, even if it is terrible, mechanics, engineering, things of that nature, especially somebody who's not trained in any of those things, send them my way if you would be so kind. But today, I just want to say thanks to everybody who has been following along, because it's been a while since I've been in here, but things haven't been going great, and it's been keeping me out of the garage for quite a while, and it's just, don't own a home or have any possessions that need maintenance, because at some point, all of them will go bad at once, and it's not fun. So rent and lease everything, then it's not your responsibility anymore. But anyway, I want to dive into this car because every time I try to move it, it just jumps out of first gear really bad, and I don't understand why. So I'd really love to pull the transmission apart. The first video I did when I revived this channel from just being kind of me posting videos every once in a while and not really paying attention to it was a transmission rebuild video that was kind of an instructional video, and to this day is still the most popular video on my channel. I'll probably throw a link up or wherever it is, whatever side it goes on, just so you can check that out. But you're going to see a lot of elements from that in this video probably. If you remember, we did the door bars last time. Actually, let me show you after I painted it, because I don't think you've seen that yet. I'm really trying hard to make this car something I'd be proud of. With the street stock, I never paint anything. I never keep it clean. I never try to make it look nice. I'm just not as proud of it for some reason. I don't know why, but with this car, I mean, take a look. You can see where the paint kind of ends because it's got a little gloss to it instead of it being old. But I mean, check it out. You know, it's kind of clean and painted, and all the welds almost look nice. I mean, look, they almost look nice. I mean, this is the cleanest thing that I own, and I figured, you know, a little bit of resale value if it's clean. So that's what I'm trying to accomplish here. Remember? Trying to be nice. That was gross. But anyway, this car and a lot of the other cars in this region run a lot of the same parts. I mean, a lot of crate motor cars, no matter what division. A lot of stock transmissions as well. Like this series and the rule package that they come with, you gotta run stock transmissions like GM, Saginaw, Muncie. That's pretty much it. That's all you're allowed. Aluminum, steel, cast iron, whatever the hell it's just, that's all you get. This has, I believe, a 3-speed Saginaw. I don't know the ratios of it, but it looks like somebody Craigslist rebuilt it. I mean, you can tell because of the way that sits like that. They think they just painted over the dirt that was on it, which is kind of gross, but, and there is a hint of overspray, but at least they took care of it to the point where you could see they paid attention to it. But other than that, it's jumping out of gear, so who the heck knows. Now, I do have a little bit of a parts inventory for these transmissions. I got 2 Saginaw rebuild kits that I haven't touched. I got sag parts and stuff in here. I got a couple tail shafts. I got this case, which I think has an ear that's cracked, which kind of stinks. I got some main and cluster gear shafts. And I got some, you know, pins for it and everything. I got some more parts up there, I think, on the top shelf somewhere around there. I'm not sure, but I got parts everywhere. So, oh yeah, I forgot about this bucket full of gears and stuff that came out of blown up transmissions that were still technically good. But so I got some inventory if I find something I don't like. And at least now I just have to clean off the bench because I still haven't done that. I need a space to work. But we got to change the jack stands, get the car up in the air, pull that transmission out, which, I mean, it's all out in the open. We got to drop the drive shaft, obviously. But, I mean, working on these types of race cars is nice because it's not got factory tin work. Everything is cut way high and out of the way, so you can actually get to stuff, and that's it. So, swapping jack stands and pulling transmissions. It's too cold for this crap. Guys, I forgot to mention this. I bought more stuff on Temu. I don't know why I keep doing this. Maybe it's morbid curiosity. Maybe I'm a cheapskate, but... And also, whenever you buy stuff from Temu, it is obviously Chinese. And it smells like cancer. Really bad. So I don't know what they got going on over there, but I got these stickers for like toolbox. I bought more of these just because I need them, and they were super cheap. I got more of these little electrical connectors because, well, they were actually pretty good. Then I bought this thing. I don't know. No, actually, it needs the end changed over for, you know, more standard type air fitting, which not a big deal, but it's so that you could take your air compressor and hook it up to this thing and hook a hose onto this side. And this is now a vacuum pump, essentially. It just, you move the ball valve and it'll suck anything out of whatever into this canister. Then you close it, and you can just empty the bottom or take the top off of this or whatever you want to do. I don't know. I figured it was worth a shot. It feels... Oh, God, I got that weird, greasy cancer smell on me. The biggest surprise is this. I've always wanted one of these cameras that you can just stick into a very small orifice, like a spark plug hole or inside a transmission or something. But this thing actually works. It was really cheap. The app on it is incredibly poorly translated, but the second I plugged it in, it worked. Like, it literally worked. I could look through my cell phone into here, and it comes with like USB-C, micro USB, and a lightning cable for your, well, now I suppose older iPhones. Newer iPhones have a USB-C now, but it does work. I did shove it up my nose, but it does work. So, you know, just more stuff for me to play with. I made enough room on the bench for her to come up here and be inspected. It looks like somebody who kind of knew what they were doing put it together, because the stuff down here is all gooped over. It is, like I said, Craigslist rebuilt, and you can tell because they just spray painted over all the grime that was on it. So that's cool. I did find one issue. The shifter seal over here is a little weepy, and it's leaking just a little bit. You can see just a little bit of staining over here. But like I said, you could tell it was rebuilt by somebody who knew what they were doing, I think, just from the outside. Even though, like I said, somebody just painted over the sconge. So we'll clean that up a little bit. Yeah. If you're going to make something look nice, at least put the effort in to, you know, wash it first. Because that's just like road sconge or something. Just whatever. I'm I don't care about the fit and finish. I care about its functionality. When I pulled it apart, whoever put the shifter linkage together, the first reverse linkage was hitting this bolt here. And I don't know if that was engaging fully in first gear, because sometimes it'll engage, sometimes it won't. I really just want to pull the cover off, inspect all the teeth, because if I look at the input shaft, it doesn't have a lot of play. And I also want to see inside and look what ratio it is, because I don't know what ratio it is. We'll count teeth, we'll count turns, we'll do whatever the heck we need to do, but I want to see what's in here. I know, I didn't even get her opened up yet. But what I did find, if I could find something to point at it, I had my toothbrush out here cleaning. It's been welded. You can see all the way up and around, it's been welded. This ear has been welded back on. Oh, you can feel it too. And they did a nice job. Much nicer than I would have done. So somebody professionally put that back together. So I'm still looking through it, but figured I'd show you that before I even get the dang cover open. All right, so it looked, remember when I said, I thought that it was professionally redone from the outside? Well, let's take all of that back. I don't even know what this case is. I don't remember these having this big lip here, but we'll just gloss over that. So we had the welded part, which isn't a big deal. I can live with that. There is some wear down here where the throwout bearing sits, and it seems like it was riding on it for some reason. I don't know why, but that's worn, so that's concerning. But that's not as concerning as what you're going to see in here. And what you're going to see in here is this. That's not good. Like, I'm genuinely concerned for how much end play this thing has. I'm looking at the rear carrier bearing here, and my goodness, there's a lot of gap there. None of the transmissions that I've ever worked on, rebuilt, replaced, whatever, have done this. That's a lot. And I'm finding there's no magnet in here, which I don't like. I like having a magnet in there just for sake of maintenance and at least seeing if there's particulate, because I can take my finger and run it down under here, and that is the very same consistency as Never Sees. But that's not Never Sees. So I'd love to know what that is. To be fair, all the gears look fine. I'd be willing to bet that this thing was rebuilt because the cluster gear looks brand new. I don't think it's supposed to do this. So I'm going to start pulling this thing apart and looking for blown out shims or bushings or anything of the sort. I don't think this cluster gear, nah, that doesn't need to come out. Although I might pull it anyway. I might just do a full rebuild on this. I think it's a 168. It might be good enough. But either way, it's a transmission. It looks like it needs help. I think it's time that we start yanking this thing apart. That might have to wait till tomorrow, because what I usually do is I take a couple jack stands and then I just flip this thing over and put a big bowl underneath it and let all this gear oil drain out overnight, so that when you go to tear it apart, you don't have gear oil coming out of every crevice and orifice. We'll do that. Oh yeah, I think we got bushing issues. I just tilted her on her side, and that is all what appears to be copper. A lot of these bushings are kind of copper and some kind of coating like zinc or something, but that is that's very sparkly. And that's not good. So we'll see what that looks like when we put it into a stainless steel bowl. So I'm gonna let this drain for quite a bit. It's really hard to get her to balance like this because all the weight makes it go a different way. So I just jammed a hammer down in there, and yeah, that'll hold her. Now I'll let it drain for as long as I can. You can see the way the body kind of angles down here. Hopefully that'll help drain the tail shaft out. I doubt it, but you know, that's going to take a long time. In the summertime, it actually goes pretty quick because it's warm. In the wintertime, everything sticks to stuff. So my concern about this clutch throwout bearing kind of dragging, and I see all these bolts here kind of shimmed out. I think that's to kind of hold the back of that thing. I don't really know, but I'm going to take a look under the car and see what I can find out down there, because that shouldn't be doing anything. So here's my clutch throwout thing, and I guess I was right. You can see the bolt witness marks from holding it out. I don't even know what kind this is, and I wish I could get closer, but there's shifter dogs in my face. She says quartermaster something there or other. I'm just really hoping that it's the right one, because boy, would I feel bad if I didn't have the right clutch in this thing. I think it's the right one. I'll have to take a look, but either way, I can't get this thing out anyway. I have a disconnect on it, which is great because you know that'll fail at some point. But I'm trying to figure out why it would spin, because it shouldn't. There's a bolt here on the bell housing that literally holds on to the clutch, so it can't just spin freely in here. So I don't know what that's from. Maybe that's from something else. That could be it. It could just be something else completely, and I don't even have a clue. So I don't think we're really in for any trouble here. I'll just keep looking at this and see if there's anything that I really need to keep an eye on, or if I got the wrong part number or something. But I'd really like to keep this together as much as possible if I could. Well, I'm going to get out of here. There's no sense in me even really being in here right now, because I don't know what else to do right at this very moment, because I'm looking at the list and it's like body, bumpers, gears and oil temp gauge to volt changeover. I don't even have that gauge yet. Body, whatever. I think I said that one already. But anyway, that kind of proves a point that I had within myself that I didn't say on camera. You know, sometimes you can't really tell when something's bad until you actually pull it apart and look at it. Because if I'd used this, you know, boroscope thing that I just bought, I would have looked in the transmission and said, oh, everything looks good here, and then just thrown it back together, and the thing is probably in the middle of blowing up. But either way, like I said, I got extra stuff. I got all sorts of parts and tools and rebuild kits and all this other goodness here that I can use to put her back together the right way. Hopefully I don't really need a heck of a lot for it. So this kit right here that I'm looking at that's already been used might be close to good enough. I don't even know. It's got some seals for the shifter sitting in there. And I have a bunch of old bushings and, well, they're not old. They're just not used, but been sitting around a while. Does that make sense? Either way, man, if somebody ends up buying this car who watches my channel, they're going to know how much work went into this damn thing. And they're actually probably going to be appreciative of, well, you'd hope they're appreciative of your efforts. I mean, look at all the work we did. We fixed the window net. We fixed that bar. We put a seat in it. We fixed the steering. We put new door bars on it. We painted it. We're currently working on the front end. We're working on the transmission rebuild. I mean, look at all the stuff we're doing. Plus, I'm spending, you know, countless hours throwing tar on my roof because apparently that went bad and I wasn't paying attention. And my road car is working right now, so that's good. Other than that, we're working hard. It's December. We're like 2 weeks out of Christmas. I think the Thompson Speedway banquet's going to be coming up tomorrow, and I'm not even going to be there because I'm so busy doing other stuff. And enough yapping. Okay, I'm going inside. I'll see you all tomorrow. It's the next day. I finally got out to the shop. It's like 6:30 at night. I don't know. Christmas season at work is terrible. I go to work at 7:30 in the morning and don't get home and finally get something to eat and come out to the garage, and it's already late, so it's like, that's fun. We have an issue. Uh-oh. We've got, oh no. That's gear oil. Apparently, and I just looked right now, there is a split in the bowl that I didn't notice before. It must have fallen and hit something. And yep, it's got gear oil everywhere. That's great. Guess I'll go over here and... What is this? Hey, look at that. Yeah, if you take a jug and just cut it like this, instant scoop. So we'll just start. Yeah. So while I get that oil dry to sink in, I think I'm going to show you what else I have purchased for the car, and it's over here. I hate making messes. Well, you know, we've already done all this, but I know this is thinking a little bit ahead, but I figured I'd get it now. Radio stuff. My brother has radios that are brand new. They are a Kenwood pin, so I bought the little jumper thing here for a Kenwood. There's two different types. There's Motorola and Kenwood, and probably a third type called Chinese, and who the hell knows what it is. I wouldn't go with the third one. I don't think it really matters as long as your radios work. I've never had a preference. I've used both. Got a steering wheel button. I don't know, my brother uses it. Seems to work. Got the car harness, which my helmet's already wired, so that's already a good start. I figured we could just share radios because I don't think he's going to be using them much, and I don't think I'm going to be using them much either, but we'll see. So we'll install that at some point. I don't know if that'll be now. I'm waiting for the heat to kick in because I'm only in a sweatshirt. And that's just poor planning because I should be an adult and know how to dress appropriately for the right situations. But I've got this that I typically do transmissions in. It's just a stainless steel tray. It usually captures all my bolts, all my oil, all of pretty much anything I need, so. All right, I got a junk old towel that the mice are making a home out of, which is fine. That should protect me from walking up against it, getting it all over my disgusting pants. And actually, I kind of like these shoes. So I got a magnet, and you remember we looked in here and it looked like Never Sees all inside this thing. Let me shine a light on this situation. See how it looks like Never Sees everywhere in the bottom? I'm going to take this nice clean magnet, and we're going to jam her on in there and see what we pull. Oh, God, it's bad already. What is... Let me get you right on in there. What? What is that? That is not all metal. There's no possibility of that actually being all metal. There's no way. I'm not convinced that that's all metal. I think that's just goop. And I don't know why. There are chunks in it, I'll be honest, though. Let me filter these chunks out of whatever the hell. This is... What if this is Never Sees? Why would it be in there? This is going to suck to clean. Guys, I don't know what to say here, but it's not Never Sees. That is the most goop. How do I even... It's not even really... Look at... There's no metal chunks in there. It attracted to this magnet. Watch. That's just goop. It's just goop. It's magnetic goop. It's like a primordial ooze laden into the bottom of this case. What happened? What is in there? This is going to be interesting. All right. Time lapse. I'm pulling this apart now. I have already figured out what has happened to this transmission. I pulled the tail shaft off of its housing. Usually it only comes out a little tiny bit, or the entire main shaft comes with it because there's a snap ring that's retained by the casting on the tail shaft that holds it together. Well, it ain't there. Well, actually, it is there. It's just not here. This is broken. All of this is broken. This tail shaft is junk. Complete junk. Now I'm very nervous about how much damage there actually is in this thing, because what went through? Oh, that is a lot of fluid that's being retained by... You remember when I said, hey, I got a plethora of other tail shafts and stuff over here? Well, check it out. See how there's a snap ring and a collar in there? See how the collar is gone? How it's supposed to be flat? And a snap ring in there? Well, I figured out where it went. That is the primordial ooze at the bottom of this transmission, because it looks like this broke off and got eaten up by the gears and is now pulverized into the bottom of the transmit. Oh God, this is not good. Plus I've got oil going everywhere, so I'm going to need a rag for that. But we've already found the problem literally 5 seconds into touching this transmission, so we're going back to time lapse, and we're just going to continue before I lose everything to the ooze. Oh, damn it, more ooze. We'll get this taken apart. All right, well, I got it mostly blown apart, and I'm finding a lot of very concerning things. Mostly that I can't get my damn sleeve to stay up. All right. I pulled the cluster gear bushings, I suppose, or washers, or whatever you want to call them, out. The front one doesn't look so bad. The back one doesn't look so good. There's supposed to be this indented tang right here where my thumb is, but it's like flat and like worn off, and it's spun. I think a lot of this material, look at that, went through every single orifice, because, I mean, it's just bad. The bearings, the bushings. So look at this just disgusting ooze at the bottom of this thing. Look at it. Dude. Oh God, I wiped it on the case. Well, I got to clean that off anyway. But I have rebuild kits, like I said, on the shelf over here. I think I'm just going to put a new tail shaft on it and just rebuild it. I'm going to take all of the brake parts cleaner and hose every single orifice down. I mean, like I said, I couldn't get the snout bearing off. There's an oil passage right here. Look, that's plugged off. And look at in here where the synchro sits. Look at this just stuff. Oh, I used the bad finger. But look at all this just chunk in here. Yeah, she's just going to get a complete rebuild here. It's really hard to film and do all this stuff with one hand. So we're going to just clean as much of this out as we can. Put about 2 or 3 cans of brake clean through every single thing. Put a new tail shaft on and see what we can do. Guys, this is probably the closest I've ever seen a transmission to failure. That is the biggest mess I've ever seen. I mean, we've blown transmissions before plenty of times, but I've never seen one this close to failure, but not completely failed yet. I think it's salvageable. I took a look at all the gears and stuff. I'm gonna hose them all off with brake clean until they're shiny. I'm gonna make sure that the cluster gear is okay. I'm gonna make sure all the oil passages are clean. I'm gonna make sure the case is not compromised where you put any of the washers or bushings or anything for the lower cluster gear, and basically replace the bearings. That's all I'm gonna do. The synchros are all fine. They're all brand new. I mean, I'm not gonna touch that. All the gears look fine. So basically, like I said, hose it down, completely clean it out. I might add a magnet in it because I have them little tiny neodymium, really heavy duty ones. Just stick one tiny little one in the bottom to catch anything, just because it's not gonna hurt anything. It's not gonna be in the way. It's only like paper thin. And slap it all back together because there isn't a lot that goes into these. I'm not tearing it all the way down. As long as I can get it cleaned out completely from this just utterly disgusting cast iron ooze that has paired with the oil and created this never sees like mixture. It's just the most disgusting thing I've come across. As long as I can get all of that cleaned out and make sure that this thing is ready to go back together, I'll get my grease out, I'll get the rebuild kit, we'll start greasing bearings so that they don't fall out, and start just stabbing things back together because I don't have anything else I can do. Talking ain't working. Sometimes you just waste your time. And a whole bunch of Amazon brake clean, 2 cans, 2.5 cans, and a whole bunch of Harbor Freight towels, which they gave me a $10 coupon because I'm a regular customer. I should go get some more. They're good, they work. But I'll show you why we're dead. I have completely shut down for the night. I'll probably show you at least one more thing just so we don't have to end the video off like this with complete failure, because I want to get something out to you guys. But if you look in the back here, you will see this is the race, or wherever, whatever you call it, for the lower cluster gear for the bushing. Notice that it is worn and there is a significant lip worn into it. If we come over to this one, there is no lip. It is flush, much like it is in the front. Why am I not using this case? Well, I think it's for a 4-speed because of the reverse gear, how that looks. I'm not sure if there's a difference in cases, but I think there is. Plus, these giant X's that I wrote on here mean that these ears are both cracked all the way through. So this is basically just here for looks, I suppose, but we're dead. This transmission is junk. I got part numbers so that I can actually go and look over what the gear cluster gear count is. I think, what's this say on it? W301-16A, so I think that's a 6 something or other. I think it's a 16 tooth. It's probably a 168, so I'll count that later. And then we got the cluster gear here. Like I said, everything looks halfway decent, and it looks like at some point in its life that it's been rebuilt. But with the case junk, the tail shaft's junk, well, it's junk. So I think I'm going to go to my brother's house where my dad's old stash of transmissions are, because all the transmissions I have, aside from what's on the shelf, all of the ones that I have over there and whatever, they're all built. So they're all clean, rebuilt, everything's nice. I can't just part one out. I know he's got at least one 3-speed housing that's blown up inside, and I don't think the housing's bad, so I might go borrow that off of him, because it's not doing anybody any good sitting there blown up. But you get that sometimes. I mean, you buy a cheap car, what do you expect? Of course the transmission's blown up in it and nobody knew. I mean, I don't blame the last owner. He didn't seem to know. I didn't know. All I know is that I put the car in gear and it drove, and it was, I don't know, I rode it around the yard, barely idling. I never drove it anywhere down a road or anything, so it's not like I had any shot of even knowing either. So it is what it is. It's one of those deals. But I don't really want to leave that off and just say, oh, you know, we pulled the transmission out and it was junk. Sorry, that's our video. But that's kind of how life is, isn't it? Just sometimes things just don't work out the way you want it to, and that's just the way it is. I mean, what are you going to do, you know? So I think I'll throw this, the radio wire kit into the car, and let's end the video with that. Well, at least we turned chicken poop into chicken salad. No, we didn't. But anyway, you notice that I put my button here instead of on the wheel. It just makes life so much less complicated. I mean, if you've got it on the wheel, you got to wrap it around your steering shaft, and you got to like make sure you don't smash it when you throw the wheel in anger, and you know, stuff like that. I just wrapped her around this post here because, you know, what's it going to do? I figured that would be no tension on it. And then I just wrapped her to this post because it's like this far away from my steering wheel. And I just grabbed the old post and hit the button. I mean, you're not racing and on the radio half the time. Like I don't remember ever really, I've only ever run a couple races with a radio. And let me be honest with you. At no point when I was driving in anger did I feel the need to be pushing buttons. I'm driving, dude. So I got that set. I got her loomed up along the dashboard bar here. You know, little excess cable there. Tied her up nice. Got a couple more zip ties. By the way, I'll get to that side in a second, and I'll show you the tools that I used, but I got her tied up there, run up, and a little excess here so that we can reach it and plug it into my helmet. I swear I've put more of these radio harnesses in cars than I've ever actually used one, because I think I've only ever run like, gosh, one race where I've actually had a radio. I think we had plans of doing more, but we never actually did. I think I just wired up for it and then never did it again. So either way, I've put them in my brother's car, and we've used them at New Hampshire before. So it's literally the same kit too. It's from Rugged Radios. They make good stuff. I mean, it lives up to its name. Anyway, the tool I was talking about is one of these. I think it's a Dorman brand. It's just a set of flush cuts. You know, if you have any sort of zip ties in your car, which everybody does, $7 at like an auto parts store. I think I got these at O'Reilly's. You can't go wrong. They've paid for them in the amount of Band-Aids that I would have had because of how many times I freaking cut myself on ragged zip tie ends. I mean, I swear, it really has. For $7, I've saved myself a lot of hassle. Either way, I do apologize for not being able to put videos out lately, because it's the busy season at work, and there's a lot of things going on in life right now, like outside of racing and outside of working and outside of this garage, and it's been really tough. And like just life stuff in general. Like my house needs a roof, and my cars don't run. Like I can't get my daily drivers to work. I can't keep a roof on my house for some reason. It's not that I'm spending money on this thing. This is all elbow grease and nonsense that I had laying around the shop. But I have to just get a hold of somebody to put a roof on the house. It's not a big deal, but I just haven't had time because I'm constantly working. So, and then when I come out here in the garage, it's so late, they're all closed anyway. So what the hell? Anyway, other stuff has been going on as well behind the scenes that are personal, and I'm not getting into it. But either way, we've been working on trying to get out here and just making something for you guys. And I apologize for the complete failure, but that's racing sometimes, and that's working on cars, and that's just how it is. I mean, you find stuff, you're like, okay, well, I got plans. I'm going to flush her out, clean it up, send it. Nope. So I got to find a case for it and transplant the guts into it. Hopefully we can do that in another video. But again, thank you all for being patient. Thank you all for hanging in there with me and watching. And if you haven't subscribed, like I mentioned a few times, please consider doing so. It's literally the click of a mouse if you like anything that I do, and anything engineering, racing, fabricating, DIY. A lot of DIY. I do everything myself. If you have a friend that might like something like this, please send me their way. Share what I have on social media, anything, because like I said, I really want Google to pay for stuff. I don't want my fans to be paying for stuff. You know, I want you to just kind of go along on the journey with me, and, you know, maybe someday along the way we'll have apparel or merch or something like that, but I don't, because, you know, we need to have an audience before that. And I got a little bit of an audience with you guys, and that's great and all, but like, I'm not going to beg for money from you guys for doing things that I want to do. So anyway, thank you all for watching again. I greatly appreciate it. Christmas will be over soon, and I'll get back to normal. But until next time.